What is up, you guys? It is your boy, Keep It Real, and today I'm going to be going over the past week news of the Game of the Year award nominees. And the reason why I'm going over this is because I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to talk about these things, and at the very end of the video, I'm going to tell you which one I think deserves to win. I'm not going to tell you guys that at the beginning, just because I don't want you guys to feel butthurt as to what I'm going to say. So let's start off. We got Alan Wake 2. Now, from what I've seen and what I've heard, this is an absolute banger. I've watched a little bit of walkthroughs, and let me just tell you, the graphics in this game are absolutely crazy. And the horror aspect, the scary feeling is there in this game. It's very dark and very gritty, and it's a beautiful successor to Alan Wake. Next, we got Baldur's Gate 3. I don't even know where to start with that game. This game has so much content. You can just jump into it and experience one of the best CRPG games that has released in decades. There's no sugarcoating it. It's one of the best games in that genre. Same with Alan Wake. Marvel Spider-Man 2. Marvel Spider-Man 2 probably is the safest bet out of here. If there's going to be a game that would be put at Game of the Year, it's going to be Marvel Spider-Man 2. Like God of War Ragnarok, that was a nominee for Game of the Year. It did not win because it was so safe. And there is nothing wrong with that. Not every time that there's a sequel, it has to be Game of the Year. It doesn't need to be the best game of the series. It just needs to be a great successor, which Spider-Man 2 is. It might not be all the way up here, but nonetheless, it is a great game. Resident Evil 4 seems like the dark horse, the ugly duckling of this bunch. And the reason it feels like the ugly duckling is simply because it released at the beginning of this year, and it's a remake. I don't have anything against it. Honestly, it's one of my favorite games of the year. It's so well made, and the DLC is great. Glad I spent my money on this game. Beautiful purchase. Next, we got Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So far, haven't played it myself, but I've heard that this game goes crazy. It's basically like lucid dreaming, like having Juice WRLD on repeat and just being like, the shadows in my room. And that's basically that song over and over again when you play this game. You know what? Something that you cannot ever tell Nintendo, this is why they got 2 up here, baby. It's because Nintendo, when they drop a game, you can expect the game to be complete. If Nintendo, it's a first party game to Nintendo, they release bangers. Yes, they're overpriced. After years of release, you still have to pay $60, but guess what? 90% of the time, that game is worth it. There's very few instances where you jump into a Nintendo game and it's not complete, and it's not complete because it wasn't made by first party Nintendo. That's just the truth. Nintendo releases some bangers. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is one of those games where you just look at it in awe. The fact that we have come this far into this game for the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is playing this game. Just to go and show you that it's not always about graphics. It's not always about, oh my gosh, look how big the world is. No, sometimes it's about art direction, actual story, actual mechanics in the game, and Zelda honestly takes a ton of these down just by simply being there. Super Mario Bros. Wonder obviously is not gonna win. It's just like Resident Evil 4, great games, but in reality, where are the people that are going to support this game? Zelda has a massive following because of how great the game is. Baldur's Gate, huge following, just like Zelda. Marvel Spider-Man 2. These 2 are exclusive, so obviously Nintendo people and PlayStation people are going to vote for these, but this game has to compete with these 2 just gigantic punches. I don't even know where to begin with all these games. These are all great games, and if you haven't played them, please do. And I'm going to experience them when they go on sale, and that's just because your boy is not out here, I'm not monetized. I'm not sponsored. I gotta work and get, I do this by my own due diligence, guys. I gotta take care of things first. So Alan Wake 2. If we look right here, it's sitting at 87, and I'm just talking about the reviews because I want you guys to see the average scores. It's sitting at let's just round it up, average it out. This is a 90% game. If you average it out, it's 90%. Boom. 87 PS5, PC 89, Xbox Series X 94, and generally speaking, the game of the years always have a higher score on Xbox. And I know I'm not trying to make any Xbox player mad, but it's because Xbox truly doesn't have like a crazy amount. Like Hi-Fi Rush is a banger, but if we're being serious, they don't have 90 and up games coming out all the time. A lot of time it's like 80s, 80 and maybe 88. You know, they never release 90s and above. And it's not based out of hate. It's just based on factual information. If you go look at the Xbox exclusive release this year, they're not hitting that. Look at this. Metacritic must play. 96, 8.9 user score, just to show you it's a banger. 96 and 96. So if we just based it on reviews, it's knocking Alan Wake 2 out of the park just because it has the high ratings of 96 on the consoles that's out right now. Spider-Man 2 sitting at a 90 and then a 9.1. So based on user reviews, it has a higher user review score than Baldur's Gate. But look right here. If we look at user reviews, it's sitting at an 8.9. So again, it's not always about the game itself. It's sometimes about the player base. So then we go to Marvel Spider-Man, like I said, 90 to 9.1, exclusive to the PlayStation 5, 93 7.9. This user score is crazy to me because I loved this game when it came out. 91. It's a 90. That's crazy to me. A Resident Evil remake is 90s and above. This game is not a sleeper. It's a heavy hitter. Look at this, guys. This is a must play of this year. 7.9 generally favorable. Okay. Look at that. PC 6.9. And that's okay. Look at the massive likes and the dislikes. Again, if you have a game that you enjoy, it's because you enjoy it and not because somebody else is telling you. Look at Super Mario Bros. Wonder, 92 and 9.2, just to show you that Nintendo releases bangers. If you go right here, must play, 96 to 8.3. They don't play. These are games of the year. The one game I've been seeing all over the place that isn't on here, Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield. Now, I know why Starfield isn't on here. Because when it came out, it didn't feel complete. You cannot sit there and tell people that compared to Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate, Marvel Spider-Man, Resident Evil, even if you just compare it to Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, you cannot tell me it's to that quality. I understand that I like Starfield. I'm not saying this based on hatred. I have the game installed and I have 50 hours on it and I'm basically done. I've been trying to 100% the game. It's not that I don't like it, but if we're being truthful, that game has no reason to be a game of the year discussion. That game is not that good. It's good, but it's not great. Same way I feel about this. This game is great, phenomenal, but is it really game of the year? Is it really though? Is this? And this is where I'm getting to what I'm gonna pick as game of the year. You guys probably already know. And I'm gonna tell you why. I don't pick Alan Wake. I'm not picking Marvel. I love Spider-Man. Resident Evil 4, replayed it so many times, baby. I can't even tell you how many times. I love that game. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, haven't played it yet, but I probably will. Zelda, don't even ask me no questions. I'm on there like white on rice. Don't ask me no questions. Zelda is just a beautiful experience. I spent my time on there. Blessed be thy above who brings Zelda to my hands because this is a beautiful game. And I'm going to have to give the game of the year to Baldur's Gate 3. And the reason I'm picking Baldur's Gate 3 out of all these beautiful options is not because it's biased or it's only on PC and PlayStation 5. I couldn't care less. Like I said, I bought Starfield. I don't care if it's an exclusive. But baby, when I hop into a game and I can just tell the moment that I spawn in and the moment that I make a character that I'm going to sink my teeth into the game and I don't want it to finish, that's how I know that it's my game of the year. Baldur's Gate 3 has had so much content, so many things that are just ironed out. Yes, Acts 2 and 3 are not as good as Act 1, but I spent so much time on Act 1, I basically played all these games and the one time that I completed Baldur's Gate. And that's absurd because Baldur's Gate is just full of beautiful content, beautiful scenery, beautiful boss fights, strategic gameplay, and a lot of people don't play CRPGs and came to experience this game just because of all the praise it was getting, and the praise it got was well due. It's made by Larian Studios. Yes, it was in early access, but it released this year. If it was the game you were waiting for your whole life, don't act like you wouldn't say it's Game of the Year. It's Game of the Year. It's the best game that has fully released this year. Everybody knows it's going to win. There's no point in having this weird discussion. This game is a dark horse. It released out of nowhere and was a banger on release. You know how hard it is to come by a game that's fully complete and fleshed out when it's released? 0 to none. Except Nintendo games, of course. Except Nintendo games. I'll give that to Nintendo. They always release absolutely complete games. And I know some of you guys in the comments will not agree that Baldur's Gate 3 is your game of the year. I understand. Everybody has games they prefer based on what they grew up with. We are all allowed to have our own opinions and our own feelings about games, but when we come down to content, creativity, choices, player opinions, patches, worked content, multiple story quests, multiple storylines, different relationships, everybody's saying that the game's only winning because of the SEX. Sorry about it for YouTube, baby. It's not why this game is Game of the Year. It's Game of the Year because when you hop in, you don't have to buy anything else. You don't have to ask for anything else. You just play this game. And some people may not like it, and that's perfectly fine. Shoot, you might think Hi-Fi Rush is the best game of the year. You might think Lies of P is the best game of the year. But guess what? That's because you enjoyed it so much, and that's the beauty of gaming. That's the beauty of this year. We can all bicker and fight about what's game of the year, but does it truly matter? At the end of the day, we get to say we hopped on a game. We get the luxury to hop in. And I can say that I get the luxury to play these beautiful games, and I'm going to continue to play these games and experience the beauty and artistry behind these beautiful products. And I know I sound like a little oh, please don't hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I might sound a little sus because when I'm talking about these games, like I'm in a relationship with them. But come on, we've been through the Black Ops. We've been through every single game over the past decade, hopping on here and playing these games. And I got to tell you that when I played Baldur's Gate, my first ever CRPG, let me tell you that I had a blast, and I'm still having a blast with the game. With all that being said, guys, leave a comment down below and let me know what is your game of the year. Don't fight amongst each other. Instead, educate each other on why you believe that your choice is the game of the year. Don't go out here saying, nah, that game sucks. Explain to them why you think it sucks, actually. You know what I'm saying? Be brothers and sisters, not enemies. We are all gamers. We are all united. And once we get full products like these that we can enjoy, we're eating good. This year's has been great. Like I said, guys, this is the end of the video. My game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3. Leave a like, subscribe, and keep it real.